loves, welcome back. If you are new here, my name is Mide, and if you're returning, welcome back. Okay, I appreciate that. Today I'm going to be talking about MICROLOCS tips and maintenance. Okay, if you are considering MICROLOCS or you already have MICROLOCS established on your hair, whichever method that you use, like if you don't know, there are several ways that you can start MICROLOCS. You can start MICROLOCS with 2-strand twist, you can start it with braid, you can start it with comb curls, and you can start it with sister locks, depending on whether you're going to be doing it yourself or not, and whether you're going to be maintaining it yourself or not. However, after MICROLOCS installation, there are a couple of things that you need to be doing to put into consideration for you to grow a healthy heads of locks on your head. Because MICROLOCS are tiny locks on the head, the number of locks ranges between 150 strands of locks to like 1,000 strands of locks. Okay, and then I used to feel that the less tiny they are, the more safe they will appear, and that you'll be able to maintain it. That is not necessarily true. That I have come to realize. Okay, and I also used to think that because they are tiny locks, by the time they grow out and become so long, they are going to be popping out anyhow. That is also not necessarily true. Okay, it all depends on how well that you are able to maintain your locks and how well that you are able to follow instruction given to you by the person that installed it. Okay, the loctician, as the case may be. There are so many people that I have come across carrying long MICROLOCS that ranges between 5 to like 12 years. Some of the locks are so long that it gets up to the waist, down to their butts. Okay, and I've not been hearing anybody experiencing lock popping and all that, except if accidentally the locks are being pulled and tugged and they eventually come off. Okay, that is possible, but it is not necessarily what happens. Like, they're not going to be popping out on their own. All right, so don't be afraid. Okay, tips I'm going to be giving you today, if it is something that I have been aware of from day one, okay, before I installed my lock, I probably might have gone for tinier locks on my head. Okay, yeah, but that is just wishes. One of the tips is that whether you are going to be installing your MICROLOCS by you or by someone else, you want to make sure that you install the numbers that you can maintain by yourself. Okay, the more the number of strands of locks on your head, the more tedious that is going to take you to retie the lock, and the longer it's going to take you to retie the head subsequently. Okay, if you have so much locks on your head and you don't like to sit down for a long time, then it is not something that you are going to like, because it takes more than 3 hours depending to interlock your hair. And if you're going to be having more than one person retying your locks or maintaining it for you, then it will be a bit faster. But if you are the type of person that does not like so many people manipulating your hair at the same time, then it is not something that you're going to enjoy. Okay, another thing that you should put into consideration is the fact that if the locks are so tiny and you're going to be maintaining it yourself, then you run the risk of interlocking 2 strands of lock together. Okay, and then sometimes it might end up distorting the grid that has been established on your head. So another tip that I have for you, number 2, if you were not neat, if you are the kind of person that careless about your loose natural, if you have locks, tiny locks, you are likely not going to be keeping neat locks on your head. And this is one of the things that people kind of frown upon. A misconception that people have, that those that carry locks are kind of dirty because their locks are dirty. All right, and if you don't want this misconception to come true for you, then you want to make sure that you clean your hair as regularly as possible. Okay, you are going to be putting into consideration that unlike loose natural that you can easily comb through, such that you bring out any sort of particles that might have falling onto it, and you are able to wash off anything that you add to your hair. Unlike loose natural, locks are not going to be giving you options for that. You are going to be extra careful of the type of products that you add to your locks. Products that are meant for loose natural are not applicable for MICROLOCS or locks generally. Okay, just because whatever goes into your MICROLOCS does not come out easily. Okay, it doesn't, because you can't comb through it, and they kind of hold on to products, okay, that are not so clear. Of course, locks are of low maintenance. One of the reasons why they are so is that so many things that you add to loose natural, you cannot add it to locked hair. All right, just because they might change the look and they might make it to appear unhealthy and dirty. Okay, and those things end up forming build up at the end of the day. Whatever it is that you are going to be applying to your hair, be it shampoo, conditioner, oil, and all sorts, should be of light consistency and clear in appearance. Like your shampoo should be clarifying shampoo and free of milky and thickness that could cause build up on your locks. Okay, the third tips that I have for you, you don't want to go too long in between retie, especially for MICROLOCS. This is not something that you can manipulate like that. Just because some hair strands grow out of the strand of locks that you started with, while some remain in the strand of the lock, the type of hair that grow out of the lock strand could eventually match up, tangle up with the rest of the hair on your head, and those ones that remain in the lock could end up thinning out. Although this is not likely to be at every point on your head, but the area that you lie on mostly. Okay, so you don't want to go for far too long in between retie, usually between 4 to 8 weeks. That is if it is safe for you to do that. Just like I said earlier on, if your hair is the type that grows out of your lock, then you don't want to go for too long. Even if your hair is the type that does not grow out of the strand of the lock, it is possible for loose root hair to mat up after they must have grown out a lot. Then it becomes difficult for you to separate when you are ready to do the retie, and then you will have to be popping so much strands of hair just to re-establish the grid that were formed at the point of installation. That is just the peculiar thing about MICROLOCS. Okay, this particular tips is for those people that always want to look slayed, always want every strand of their hair to come out looking neat all the time. Neat strands does not really go with MICROLOCS or locks generally. Okay, there will be time for you to do your retie, and the roots of your hair are going to be looking snatched and neat, but it is not going to be all the time. All right, and so you don't want to retie the root of your hair too often. I'm talking about retightening the roots at 2 weeks interval, 3 weeks interval. Okay, of course there are some people that their hair grow out so fast, especially if you are young. All right, and if you eat well, it is likely for your hair to grow out so fast. Okay, but that still does not mean that you want to be retightening your hair every 2 weeks. That is going to put a lot of strain and stress on your scalp. Okay, and just because the strand of hair that is being cut and pulled together during installation, they are few. Okay, and if you have too much tugging and pulling so frequently, it is possible for the roots to become weakened and then start to pop and become thin. Okay, it might not be something that you will notice immediately, but the frequent pulling and straining of the strands of hair, the locks on your head, is going to eventually show at the end of the day. The physical manifestation of your action will show at the end of the day. Okay, so you want to be careful. And another thing is that if you are the type that has grown maybe in your 40s, at this stage the regeneration of some tissues, some things in your body are like slowing down. Okay, and so I know for sure that your hair is not going to be growing as fast as they used to be, and bruise and cuts are not going to be healing as fast as they used to be. Okay, and if you now happen to be retightening your locks so frequently, then eventually it might result to baldness. It might result to, you know, your hair falling off, and then you feel that something is wrong with your head, or something is wrong with your hair. Of course something is wrong with your hair, but you are the cause of it. You are going to be the one that will be held responsible for it, and you don't want that to happen to you. Okay, you don't want that. Please don't forget to like this video. If you loved it, subscribe to my channel. All right, those are the tips that I have for you on MICROLOCS today. So take care guys, stay blessed, stay beautiful, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.